Hi, third graders, it's Miss Harding, and today I want to talk to you about how to become editors of your own writing. So before we get started, there's a couple of things that I want you to grab. I want you to make sure that you have your personal narrative, a pencil, and if you happen to have a highlighter or a yellow crayon, if you will go ahead and grab that because we're going to be using that for this lesson as well. So I want to talk to you about sometimes when you're writing, sometimes your brain will correct spelling errors that you make all on its own. And we call that autocorrect. Sometimes even when we're doing text messages, it will autocorrect. Well, our brain does that when we're writing and it just knows to fix spelling mistakes. Well, this is why sometimes you may not notice that you have made a spelling error because you're so used to your brain just automatically correcting those errors for you on its own. So I want you to look at this chart that I have made. This is all about being a detective of our writing, okay? So let's look at this. These are the things that we're going to do this week within our own writing to catch our spelling errors. We're going to really be detectives to make sure that we do not miss anything, okay? So the first thing that we do is we're going to start at the end of our writing. And I know that may seem a little odd because, you know, when we read a book or a magazine or a newspaper, when we read anything, we always start at the beginning, at the first word. So it may seem a little odd to start at the end. So it's going to sound a little weird at first, but it'll become more natural once we start to do it. And then after that, we're going to read word by word. And we're going to make sure that we read slowly so that our brain can really think, does that look right? Is that how that word is spelled? If we think, I don't think that's how it's supposed to be spelled, we are going to highlight it. If you don't have a highlighter, you can just underline it with that pencil. Then after we do that, part 2 of this video is going to be going and using resources such as dictionaries or high frequency words to edit and fix those mistakes. That's going to be in part 2 of this video. We also want to be careful not to get tricked by homophones. So an example of a homophone is be. Be can either be a word that you use in a sentence or it can be the insect, the bee that has the little stinger on it, okay? So we want to be careful that we don't get tricked by those homophones when we're being detectives of our writing. So I'm going to show you how to do that with my paper about a wasp that I wrote for my personal narrative. So I'm going to switch my screen so that you can see my writing. So before I start those steps of being a good detective, I'm going to just read my personal narrative to you so that you can kind of hear what I read about before we start editing. This is about a time that my nephew Kendall and I, we ran into a big hive of wasps. Kendall and I raced outside, looked up through the glare of the sun towards the chimney at the top of the house. For a moment, I believed my eyes were playing tricks on me. There couldn't be that many flying monsters above my head, could there? My heart began to race 1,000,000 miles a minute. How can this be? Kendall said. I don't know, I answered as I watched the swarm hovering above our chimney. I knew something had to be done about this quick. If not, the problem was just going to get worse. What were we going to do? It was a hot day and the wasps were looking for a nice, cool place to lay their wings, and it looked like our very own chimney was the perfect place for them. So that's my personal narrative that I have started working on. Last week with Miss Fagan, you guys practiced revising your story and adding details to it to make it more powerful. This week, we're focusing on editing it, and that means fixing mistakes that we made. And today's focus is on spelling. So remember, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start at the end. We're going to work backwards, which is going to seem a little silly at first. And remember, we're going to go very slowly through each word so your brain has time to think about, is that word spelled correctly or not? If we don't think that it's spelled correctly, we're going to use a highlighter to highlight it or to underline it with a pencil if you do not have a highlighter, which is totally fine. And then part 2 of this lesson will be about what do we do to fix those spelling mistakes. So here we go. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this with my paper about the wasp. Them, for, place, perfect. That doesn't really look right, so I'm going to highlight it. The, was, chimney, own. You know, I don't think that that word has an E on the end of it. It looks kind of funny, so I'm going to highlight it so I can check that. Very, our, like, looked, it, and remember, I'm going very slowly so that my brain can think, does that word look right? I'm really thinking about, is it spelled correctly? Wings, there, lay, to, place, cool, nice, a, for, looking, were, wasps, the, and, day, hot, a, was. Oh my goodness. That is not how you spell was. I think that I maybe made a little mistake. I'm glad I found that. It, do, to, going, we, were, what, worse, get, to, going, just, was, problem. You know, I don't really know. I might want to check my high frequency word list in just a little bit because I don't know. That kind of looks right, but it also doesn't. So I'm not sure. I'm going to highlight it to check it. The, not, if, quick, tis. I don't know what tis means. I think I don't know what that's supposed to be. I'm going to have to check it. About, done, be, to, had, something, new, I, done, chimney, hour, above, hovering, swarm, the, whacked, waxed. I'm not sure. I don't know what word I was trying to say there, but it looks funny. I, as, answered, I, know. So know is a homophone. There's different kinds of know, like I know something or no, you can't do that. I'm not sure what kind of no I was trying to say in that sentence. I might want to check that. Don't, I, said, Kindle, be, this, can, how, minute, a, miles, million, a, race, to, began, heart, my, there, could, head, my, above, monsters, flying, many, that, be. Just a reminder, I'm thinking in my head, do these words look right? And I'm going very slowly so my brain can think about it. Couldn't, there, me, on, tricks, playing. I know that ends with ing, which is ing, so I think that I forgot the G on the end of that. Were, eyes, my, believed, I, moment, a, fur. Why did I write the word fur? I wasn't talking about an animal's fur anywhere in my story. I think I might have made a spelling error. House, the, of, top, the, at, chimney, the, towards, sun, the, of, glare, the, throw, That doesn't really look right. Up, looked, outsid. I know side has an E on the end. I think I forgot that. Raced. You know, when I was writing this, I couldn't figure out if it was with an S or a C. So I might need to use my resources to check that. I and Kindle. So I reached the top of my narrative writing piece. I know it sounded a little bit silly to read it backwards and it didn't sound like a story, but it was really helpful for me because look at all of the spelling errors I found that I want to correct now. So this was very helpful in helping me edit my paper to find any mistakes that I might have made. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to actually figure out what is the correct spelling of these words. So I want you to come back for part 2 whenever you're ready to find the spelling of these words.